Hello, this is the Night Shadow. I'm from Clock Encore, and I'm producing a video here for Climax Screwed. Today we're going to cover a trial deck box opening, Kantai Collection. And once I finish, I'm also going to build my deck the way I see it, out of scratch. I haven't actually prepared the deck itself before this, so this will be all as it comes. So first off, let's get to the opening. All right. So our foil card is our level 3 Akagi, and we'll cover that in a moment. The deck comes with one copy of Inazuma. When this comes into play, reveal the top card of your deck. If it is a ship girl, Kan Musume, rest this card. When this is sent from the waiting room to, from the stage to the waiting room, you may pay 1 and take 1 damage. If you do, search your deck for a level 1 or lower character. We get 2 copies. Let me just read her name again. Hatsushimo. Okay, sorry. Hatsushimo. When she is reversed, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a level 2 or higher, goes back into play rested. It becomes rested instead. That's only able to be used once per turn. You have 2 copies of the level 0 vanilla in green. 2 copies of Akako. Naka. Sorry. Akako's the next card. This card. But Naka, when this comes into play, take the top card of your deck and put it in your waiting room. If it's a climax, put this in your stock. Then, she has she's a 1/0 character, encore character. This is a 1/0 vanilla. This one is a level 2, cost 1, 8,000 power. Let me see if I can see. Yep, I can see that. If you discard a ship character during your turn as a startup ability, you can give it 3,500 power for the turn. Let me just move these out of the way now. We have 2 copies of the 1,000 power, 1 soul Climax. This is a gold bar trigger, which means that if you trigger this off your attack, you'll put this in your hand. I'm not sure if I like this one as much as I like the other bar trigger for the set, but we'll have to see. We also get 2 copies of a 2K1. When this is played, draw a card, gives 2,000 power, 1 soul or something. We get 4 copies of the level 0 assist, 500 assist up front, and pay 1 to send a level 0 to the waiting room on the opponent's front row. 2 copies of the 3,000 vanilla. 2 copies of a 3,500. Character opposite this gets +1 soul. Got 2 copies of Isuzu. Wow. Can't believe I forgot her name. She goes with the Climax combo, which is this one right here. When she attacks, give all level 1 or lower characters you control 1,500 for the turn. She also comes with Clock Encore. And of course, those that have watched me for a while know that I really like Clock Encore. It's something that I think is underrated in some parts of the world. It comes with 2 copies of the 117K vanilla. Always nice. 4 copies of the 2-1 backup. And this one, if you play it onto the stage, you can tap 2 and send this, tap 2 other, sorry, and send this to the waiting room, and you can pull out the 2/2 vanilla from the waiting room and give it 1,000 power for the turn. It's really nice. We get 2 copies of the level assist. The level assist is really good. Characters in front get 500 power times their level. And when this comes into play, you can pay 1 and ditch a card to search your deck for a light aircraft carrier or an aircraft carrier, which happens to be this card, and the level 3. But we'll cover that in a short time. Next card. We got 1 copy of this 2/2 Isuzu Kaini. If you want to play this, you can send this Isuzu, right here. You can send that to the waiting room to play this for 0 cost. This is an ability only shown in Persona, I believe, before. And it's completely new, so for another series other than Persona to have it. Comes with 1 copy, and the Climax combo is exactly the same as the other Isuzu, and this one is, when this attacks, discard a card. If you do, you get this card gets 1,000, and you deal 1 damage to your opponent. It's really nice for a finisher. We get 2 copies of that aforementioned vanilla for the change here. We get 4 copies of the Climax combo because it's a double Climax combo. It's pretty good. This one is a stock 1 soul one, but it's one of the updated ones, which is basically take a red card from your waiting room and put it into your stock, and then all your characters get +1 soul. Put the Climaxes off the way here. And then we get to the Trial Deck exclusives. Now, starting with Kill la Kill, Log Horizon, and Kantai Collection, all the Trial Deck exclusive cards don't have the numbers like 101, 102, like that. They just have T, whatever number they are in the deck. So you'll have to check online sources or other people that have it to know what the Trial Deck exclusives are. So this is the first one, Maya. She gets 500 power for every other Ship Girl character you control, which is really nice. You become a 2/1/9/5 with a full field. 1 copy of Chokai. When another Ship Girl attacks, she gets 1,000 power for the turn, so this is your standard Assassinator at level 2. It comes with the 2 copies, one of course being the foil that I showed earlier, so 2 copies of the level 3. If you have 2 or more Ship Girls, this gets 1,000 power. And when this comes into play, look at the top 3 of your deck, choose 1 and add it to your hand, put the rest in the waiting room. 2 copies of the Tenryu, kindly referred to as kindergarten mom or kindergarten teacher. And that's because a lot of the zeros are destroyers, and in Fanon, Tenryu likes to take care of a lot of these destroyers. Lead them, teach them, that sort of thing. And it kind of makes sense here, because for every other level 0 you control, this gets 500 power. And I'll explain why that's a good card momentarily. Finally, 4 copies of the Inazuma Destroyer, which is kind of interesting. Usually the 4X Trial Deck exclusive ones are not as great. Like, sometimes they're 500 assists, just because. But this one is kind of interesting because it's pay 1 to give something 1,500. Sorry, give a Ship Girl 1,500. And there's some notable differences between that and previous Trial Decks. The only one I can think of that has a really better 4X of assist is Vivid Red Operation, but that's not here nor there. So there's that. And interestingly enough, the deck also comes with 2 promos. Now, they're off color from the deck. One is the Yuki Kaze, When this comes into play, this gets 1500 for the turn, and when this is reversed, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a ship girl, you may pay 1 to bounce it to your hand. It's pretty good. Now we have, I believe this is Shigure. Shigure Kai Ni. When this comes into play from your hand, or by the startup ability of the Shigure at level 0, I don't remember what the level 0 does, but we do know that it exists. Reveal the top card of your deck. I believe if it's a level 1 or lower, give something 1000 power until the end of the turn or the opponent's turn. I'm not too, I don't quite remember this one, but I'm not running it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So all in all, that's the deck. I'm gonna go ahead and build what I feel is going to be my deck. And of course, this is barring testing and all. I have all the other spares here. So if you'll just give me a moment, I'm gonna build my deck and I'll explain why I chose the cards I did. You have the 8 climaxes here. And I'm just gonna spread these out so that I have 4 of each in a pile. Bar, stock, 2 here, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2. Oh, sorry. I have this habit of dropping cards. As you don't roll over them, it should be fine. If you'll notice, I put 3 of the regular Akagi. I don't typically run foils in my deck, so I'm not planning to run the level 3 foil. Okay. So this should be everything. Level 0s, you typically want 15 to 17. You can go as low as 13 safely. I prefer in this deck to try for that 16, but we'll see what happens. So I'm going to put in 4 copies of this Inazuma Blunderer. I like it just because it allows you gives you an ability to plus hand, and in a trial deck where most of your things are going to get run over anyways, you kind of need that extra hand size. And if your opponent doesn't want to give you the hand, hey, they'll side attack it. Perfect, you still have an attacker. So I'm going to have 4 of that for sure. For the level 0s, I also want 4 of the assist. The 500 to front and pay 1 to kill a level 0 at the front row of your opponents. And I'll explain why, because this is actually a good combo card with Tenryu here. But we'll get to that at level 1. So that's 8 cards here. Now next, only 3 copies of the 3500. Plus 1 soul to the front. And partly the reason is because I don't want it to be taking too much damage, because there's a lot of clock encore, or clock damage that I want to really take. So I don't want to really run all 4. I know I want to be running this in some fashion, but I'm not sure how many I want to run. I'm probably thinking of 3 right now, because in a typical, in the trial deck, it comes with 13 level 2s and 2 level 3s, if you just buy 1. So essentially that's 3/10 of the deck, and let's say that you don't draw anything, it could be as high as maybe 1/2, but it's a 50% chance for it to work, so I don't really rely on it that much. 3 at most, for now. Of course, that could change as I build it. And then, of course, just top it off, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I'm going to take 2 of the Ikazuchi. Now, I saw a video just before I started recording this that referred to this as a back row assist. I disagree. I call this a front row assist instead. And the reason is because I feel like this card is meant to be an attacker, while being able to give an ability boost. Yes, she'll get run over, but that's fine, because you only really need that 1500 boost for 1 turn. And if you need it later, you can just hold it in hand until later, because you don't really need it at level 0. So that's assuming we got all the level 0s. So let's take these out of the equation. So I didn't use any of the vanillas, and ended up using not all of the zeros. I took liberty of not having 4 of some of them. The 1500 boost is really nice just because like you get to hit over characters that I really want to hit, and because this is essentially trial deck wars, you're facing off against Kill la Kill and Log Horizon, they have assassination options. So you don't really need the boost that much. Of course, versus other decks, they're going to be quite helpful, especially when facing off against, say, Imprisoned Queen. Forcing a counter from their hands is not bad for a card. Level 1s. So we have these as options for level 1. And of course we have the Tenryu. Now, I'm going to go over Tenryu because there's quite a few people that don't understand why this is a good card. For every other level 0 you control, this gets 500 power. Now, if you presuppose that you have one of this and 4 level 0s out, this is a 107k, but you have 2 front row level 0s. That's usually considered a bad thing. Well, here's the reality of it. 2 of those 0s have to be assists. Front row assists, at least. So, 500 assist to front, you put this and, say, 2 of, where did I put that? 2 of the back row, 500 assist, and you don't need any other 0s, and this is a 107k. Secondly, I look at Japanese prices quite a bit, and this is the most expensive triple R of the set. It's a $50 card. The reason is because in all other sets that could carry this, this is a rare. But here it's just a trial deck exclusive, which is pretty good. So I want to run at least 3. I may run 4 because of how level 2 plus this deck is. So I'm going to put 3 in for now. I'm going to put 2 copies of the 1/1 vanilla because in case I need a way to pay out stock. I'm going to be running the full set of the Isuzus. And this is due more so to the Climax combo and the upcoming level 2. But I really want to get that 1500 boost, and running 4 of the Climax combo and 4 of this really helps. So 4 of this. So that's 9 level 2s. I'm probably not going to run the Kako Vanilla, but for the Naka, I'm considering running 3 or 4. I'm going to go with 3 for now, for arbitrary reasons. And that should give me a base of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 ones. So we'll put the ones aside for now. And then look at the heavy, heavy level 2s that we have. We got lots of options here. Let's take you out of the equation for a while, Akagi. Level 1. Level 2, level 2, level 2. Okay, so at level 2, actually, maybe I should bring in Akagi here so I can explain something. I'm not going to be running Akagi. It's a level 3, but if you've been compressing correctly, looking at the top 3 and taking 1 card, well, you're most likely going to hit at least 1 Climax if you've been compressing properly. Now, if the game has been going horribly, then Akagi's look at the top 3 is actually pretty good. But you don't want to be hoping for the game to go badly in order for this card to be good. And on top of that, it's 11,000 for level 3. We can do better for a card like that. And if we need really the 2 soul, then we'll just plug it at level 2. So I'm not actually going to be running this. And yes, that does mean that the level assist will be a little bit weaker because it's not giving that extra 500 to the level 3. That's why I'm only going to be running 3. The reason I run 3 here is because this is a trial deck that doesn't have a salvage option. So I'm going to need it, basically, in my hand. However, once I get 1, then I can search my deck for the second one. So it's really nice, and I can also search for this card, if I really so choose. I could also search for the level 3, but I don't really like that. So I'm going to be running 3 of that. This card, on the other hand, I'm not going to be running at all. And basically, we have enough level 2s to run. So, no to her. Our current deck count right now is 31. And we need 11 more. So we have 5 cards, 20 cards here, and we need 11. How are we going to do this? Well, first off, since we're running the full Isuzu combo, we're going to run 4 of those. And the ability to do 1 damage at the end game is pretty good for finishing off games, especially because it's a 2-soul attacker. So I'm going to be running 4. That leaves 7 left in the deck. These assassin types are alright, and if you have no better option, obviously you'll take it. I like the fact that it's 2-soul, I don't like the fact that it's 2 cost. So, in a typical assassin thing, I'd only run 2 of these. Gives me 5. And I'm also going to be running 2 of this. This is the 2-1 that can become up to 9-5. And I'm not running the full complement, and only because we need 2-soul attackers. And my policy on trial decks is that we should have at least 6 2-soul attackers. The reason that decks that don't run level 2s can get away with it when it comes to built decks is because they have 2-soul attackers in their level 3s. But in a trial deck, we can't afford that. So we currently have 6 2-soul attackers, and so that should be enough. The rest of this will go in towards this and my counters. So this will be my remaining 5. I'm not running the change, and not because she's not a good card, but just because I don't really have the room for it. I could really take these out, but I like the fact that they can reach a 10,500 before assist. So I'm going to be running those 5. So this makes a deck of 42, and now all I need to worry about is climaxes. And the climaxes are pretty obvious. In retrospect, there's really 3 options, and I'm going to be taking 4 of the climax combo. I'm going to be taking 3 of the 2K1, and I'm going to be taking 1 gold bar. My reasoning for this is pretty simple. We have 4 of the climax combos, so that way we draw into it as much as possible. It also gives us our needed soul damage. We have 3 copies of the 2K1. What we struggle at is power at the level 1 game. And if we don't get the combo off for Isuzu, we might be stuck a little underpowered, especially against walls like 119K Encore, or the Chihaya 2295 with Encore, or Vivid Blue with 219K. So we need to be able to get over those, because obviously it's not going to be just trial decks that we face. So we're going to be trying to use that 2K1 whenever possible just to get over characters. But the reason we're not running 4 is because we need hand size. We run a 1 of this, and it's there as a cancel if you need it, and if you manage to trigger it, great, you have 1. But this deck doesn't have a lot of discard options, so I don't want to run more than 2. And I need the 2K1, so I only run 1. So this is how the deck looks. We have 4, 4, 3, 3, 2. Just gonna double check if you can see that. Yep, that's everything. Then we have 3, 2 of this vanilla, 4, and 3. Now note the color discrepancy. I will typically level up with a red, just because my level 1 lineup is pretty much red. But if I need the green, I'll go for the green. Then we have 3 of this. I want to double check if you can see that as well. Yep, just barely, so let me just slide these up. Okay, 4 copies of the Isuzu, 2 copies of the Chokai, 3 copies of the counter, and 2 copies of the 2195. Well, pretty much 2195. And then we have these 3 climaxes. And that's what I'm planning to build as my deck. Now, that's what I would recommend also to those that want to try out the deck, and then from there customize it to your own personal likings. Now, for example, me, I actually like Yukikaze, despite the fact that there's no yellow in this deck. I actually want to run 4. And the way I would do that is essentially almost completely ditch the Nakas and maybe one of the vanillas, and then put all 4 in. And I would just send this to the clock or the level zone just to make sure that I can play it. Because a character that I can keep attacking with is pretty good. And if there's a climax on top, then hey, I just cancel damage, so why not? It's a pretty good card and acts as a 1/0/5/5 for a turn, so it's never bad. So yeah, that should be it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you'll subscribe to Climax Screwed. And other than that, keep them clocking and keep on drawing.